Well, is the former president saying something new or reiterating the content of his last memo? Let's quickly get views on my panel tonight on the program. Joining us from Abuja studio is the convener of the Civil Society Situation Room, Mr. Clement Nwankwo, and from London is a political analyst, Mr. Kayode Ogundamisi. Mr. Clement Nwankwo, from what the former president has said about the present state of the country, what is your immediate reaction to these, especially as we look ahead of 2019 general election?
Well, again, this will be said again. The expectation is governance that had set in during the rule of the former regime, the former president, would be corrected. This regime offered so much promises. Unfortunately, I think the expectations have not been met, and you can see across the country the criticisms of the failure of government. The insecurity has worsened and, in fact, exacerbated, especially with headsmen going all over the country, killing people, and it looks like the security services are doing nothing about it or don't care. And you saw the former Chief of Army Staff, former Minister of Defense, General T.Y. Danjuma, basically accused the military of colluding with these gunmen that are going around killing people. In fact, the military was accused of aiding these people. And in any society, this would actually be a question whether you are actually accusing the military of treason. So I think there are several issues when you're looking at the situation in the country today, that people are not satisfied with where we are. And it's not just General Obasanjo or General T.Y. Danjuma. Across the country, people are very, very dissatisfied about where things are. And in fact, the sense that the government doesn't care, is not listening, is not responding to issues. The economic situation is just as bad. The security situation has not improved. Maybe there was a slight improvement at some point, but it's deteriorated even to worse situations. Security generally has become really bad, and I think the country is really in a very, very sad situation. And this mounting criticisms of the government is evidence of the fact that the dissatisfaction levels are very high, and people are looking for a change or indeed a positive response from the government. This government is not showing that it wants to give a response at all.
Let me get perhaps a political perspective from Kayode from London. Kayode, your perspective, if you look at what the political implication of this, look, when your former boss keeps criticizing you, is this just for a political reason? What effect do you think or implication these will have for the Buhari government? Now, he has not decided or he has not stated that he's going to run for a second time. What exactly do you think this means for the Buhari government?
It has serious implications. Obasanjo is known to as earn a reputation as a rabble rouser. He loves that attention. He reads the mind of the Nigerian people. He plays safe, just like he did during the Civil War when the victory had already been secured by the brave fighters. He placed himself as an opportunist and claimed victory. So over time in our national history, General Obasanjo tries to play himself as a hero of the people. When he is part and parcel of the problem, he's actually more the problem, because he gave us the sick Yaradua and the incompetent Jonathan that led us to an old Buhari who seems to be ineffective. So Nigerian people should be very wary of these later day heroes who should be dumped into the dustbin of history. Yes, the Buhari government has not performed to expectation, but who is Obasanjo to tell us when he is part of the problem? What is quite important is that there needs to be a transition from the old to the new, a transition from the same set of people who have more or less recycled themselves in our national politics. What he's saying is not new. If Obasanjo is not happy, he will say it, especially when his interest is at play. Remember, as a kingmaker, He wants to be relevant, and if attacking Buhari makes him relevant, he would ignore some of the positives of the Buhari government and emphasize on the negative. Yes, the Buhari government has not done quite well. They've not done well enough, but that is not to take away some of the achievements they've made. They've locked shop for some of the corrupt people. They've not done very well in that aspect, but they've moved us a bit ahead of the Obasanjos and the Jonathans. In the case of insecurity, it's a great challenge. The government has not met the expectation of the Nigerian people.
Okay, now to another topic. When the All Progressives Congress released what they said is a list of looters, well, that's what they call it. They are apparently aware of the fact that it would create some ripple effect. Maybe not the exact what they envisage for it to have, but as after the second batch of the alleged looters list was released, members of the PDP and some of the people whose names were listed have reacted. So let's give you some reactions to the looters list, alleged looters list. This one is coming from our former aviation minister, Mr. Femi Kayode, and this is what he said. He said, and I quote, "I wish to make it abundantly clear that this is a nonsensical and utterly shameful, and I hereby reiterate the fact that I'm totally innocent of any wrongdoing." A major opposition voice, well, someone who has always criticized his government, Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode, has said, President Muhammadu Buhari is presiding over the most corrupt government in the history of Nigeria and protecting looters of the country's commonwealth. Nigerians have seen through their deceit and we no longer buy that fake image of integrity they are trying to sell. Now, a former governor in Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, says, my attention has been drawn to federal government list where I was mentioned to have received a sum of 1.6 billion naira from the Office of the National Security Advisor. Let me categorically state for the record that I never received such amount from the Jonathan's administration. Now, this is coming from the chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, and he says that the national chairman of the People's Democratic PDP is giving the Minister of Information and Culture 48 hours to withdraw his libelous statement against him or face litigation. Now, a former PDP spokesperson, Chivolisa Metu, says that by this publication, the federal government has breached our constitution by seeking to burden me with 2 criminal trials on the same charge, one before Justice Okunabang and the other before the media. These are some of the reactions trailing some of the list released by the federal government, and the feelers we're getting is that there will be a barrage of court cases against that statement tomorrow.